What up, everybody? Welcome to Talkin Geek. I am your host, Aaron, with the incredible Robert to my left over here, and Frank still behind camera back there.
Frank.
So we are season 4, episode 10, I believe. We're almost at Christmas, man. The year's flying by.
I know. Is anybody talking about like we're in the middle of December and it's like 80 degrees outside?
Welcome to Texas, Frank.
Have you not been to Texas in a while? I mean, I thought you've lived here long.
Well, yeah, but I don't remember ever being this hot.
Dreaming of a hot Christmas.
That's how it goes. The Texas version, hot and dry.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, guys, we're here. We got a lot of different news. So some of it will be covered here, but definitely want to say check out our Facebook page, Official GYGO, or our YouTube page at youtube.com/officialgygo, because we have a lot more of this news on there. We had the Game Awards that came out the same day, I believe,
Disney Investor Day.
Yeah, Disney Investor Day.
A lot of that, like if you're looking for your Marvel or Star Wars news that came from Disney Investor Day, we're going to talk about it, but not in this show because there's just too much to try and cram in to Talkin Geek. So we are going to get that covered in separate videos, which you'll see up on our channel. Yeah,
so that'll be everywhere essentially. So go check out either Facebook or YouTube. Please subscribe to those. And you can pick up which segment because it'll tell you what each segment's about. So if there's only certain things you want to hear or see, you can go there. And then I should have some Game Awards stuff up. Since Robert's not a big gamer, I figured I might do that one on my own. Or we'll just post some articles of what our opinion is or my opinion is of all the stuff that happened, because the Game Awards was like 2 hours long or something like that, or pushing 3, I think.
Well, Disney Investor Day lasted for like 10 hours.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, I don't know what to watch. Do I watch this? Do I watch this?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. So we'll make sure we cover it for you guys so you can check it out and see what's going on. So we're going to go into our segments. So we have a couple new ones that we want to try out, and let us know what you think of them below. Please comment, and if you like them, if you don't. We're going to do SuperEats first. And I think we're sticking with this name, actually. This is like the third time I've said it.
Yeah, I mean, it was my brainchild on one of our shows where I just randomly threw it out there because you didn't have a name. So I think give me the credit. Give me the credit.
Yeah, I'll credit you for the name.
Yep.
And I had the idea, and you took the name. There you go. So this is our baby together.
We're a dynamic duo. Oh, I'm Batman, and he's Robin.
I'm not putting those little tights on. No.
I don't want you to put the tights on, but I do want to dress you up in bright colors so they shoot at you.
But why do you dress in dark colors?
Oh, so they shoot at you.
I'm okay with this because we've already discussed you're Falcon, I'm Winter Soldier, you're Captain America, I'm Iron Man. I'm always in bright colors apparently.
I feel like though if we're going in the Batman universe, like I think I'm Alfred. I don't think I get to be brooding Batman.
Yeah, you don't brood enough. You don't. But I'm more brooding, but I'm not like no, I don't want him.
Yeah, no.
So SuperEats. So this is where I throw out some random restaurants. And we try to think of what superhero would either like run it, own it, or they came up with a concept kind of thing. So like we've done McDonald's, we've done Burger King, Sonic, we did Fridays, and I forgot the other one. So today, when we start off first, Einstein Bagel.
Einstein Bagels.
If you don't have an Einstein Bagels, it's literally the name. It's like a bagel place.
Bagel, schmear, coffee.
Yeah, Bagel and Lox. I think they have like some bagel sandwiches and stuff, but it's all bagel themed. So the whole thing is bagel themed. They have like espressos, I think they do now, and stuff like that, frappuccinos. So that's kind of what it is. There's a lot here in San Antonio. I don't know. I think they're all around though.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely. It's not just in San Antonio, but I don't know. I don't know if it's nationwide, but it certainly is broad.
Yeah. So do you want to go first? Do you have somebody in mind or not?
I haven't really.
Okay.
No, nothing's coming to brain. So go for it.
Mine, and I think you've used him for something else.
Okay.
Is Green Arrow. Because he's a one-trick pony, he uses just arrows, and Einstein Bagel's just a bagel shop.
It's really funny because like the one name that came into my mind, and I was like, nah, I don't want to use that one as Hawkeye. So it's really funny that you just went to Green Arrow.
One-trick ponies is just because again the reason I say that is because he uses just arrows, and then he has specialty arrows. They have like their sandwiches.
Sure.
So to me, he's like, I only got one idea, guys. Bagels. We got to use bagels, and that's why I see Oliver Queen like just doing something with bagels, and he's like, okay, well now we need a special bagel like for the sandwiches, and we gotta put this blueberry bagel and this egg and bacon, and so I just see it like Oliver Queen would be like in charge and making all that stuff because like one trick pony, that's all he's good for. I don't think I know anyone who goes to Einstein Bagel for the coffee. They all go for like the bagels, the schmear. Sure. I can't think of one person who says, oh yeah, I go for the coffee. Like Starbucks, I know we all go for coffee there really, but not Einstein. I feel like Einstein people just look at the bagels and are like, this is what I want. I want this, bagel and lox kind of thing or whatever. So that's who I think.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, and like Hawkeye came to mind, but then I was like, nah, I don't think that's necessarily a great fit because here's the thing, and I think Green Arrow is probably a good fit too. Is that Einstein? Yes, they are a one-trick pony, but that one trick is amazing,
and that's why Oliver's good.
They have great bagels.
Yeah.
And so if I'm getting a bagel, I'm going Einstein.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that totally
you don't
tracks.
go anywhere else.
It totally tracks for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm almost thinking like, because I'm trying to think, okay, who is that I think is really awesome at the one thing they do, but anytime they go outside of their element, it doesn't go well for them. And so I'm almost thinking like, it's almost like Wolverine.
Ooh.
Where it's like, he's awesome when he's in berserker mode.
Yes.
And he's like ripping everything to shreds. But if you put him into any other type of like situation where it's like he needs to maybe strategize or he needs like he's a one track mind where it's like I'm gonna break stuff. I'm gonna rip stuff. I'm gonna do that. And so that's kind of where I'm going is that it's like it's awesome. He's awesome at what he does.
Yeah.
But he's not. Don't cast him as the lead of the X-Men. Like that's where some of those X-Men movies fall, is that the focus is too much on Wolverine, where it's like, nah, he works better when he's like the rogue side guy that just kind of goes off mission and does weird stuff. It doesn't work as well when you're like, he's the leader of the X-Men, and so it's like, nah. So
I can see Wolverine.
I think that's where I'm going, is that I'll throw Wolverine at this one.
Okay, I like that. And like I said, I can see that he's a one-trick pony. Hey, go be stealthy. No, I got a clawed up. No, don't kill him. I mean, seriously, I got claws. I'm just gonna kill him.
And that's one of the only good moments of The Last Stand where Magneto is, like they're having their big battle and like Wolverine like leaps at him and he's like, will you never learn? And of course he's the distraction, for Beast. And so like, that's one of the best moments where it's like, because at the same moment, you're like, Wolverine totally would do that, even though clearly Magneto is the perfect antidote to Wolverine.
It is. I mean, they show it in the first X-Men film. He's like, you're seriously just, okay, I'm going to...
Does that fantastic metal run all the way through your body?
Yes. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, it's great.
So yeah, I think those are good fits. I think both of them would be perfect.
Right. We're on board.
So my next one.
Okay.
Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme.
So I had somebody that I saw a poster and I'm like, I think I have somebody different now.
Uh-oh.
Starscream. I think Starscream is a good fit.
Starscream's not a superhero, but okay.
But he's this, shut up. In his own mind, he's a hero. So
just that voice too. It's a screeching, annoying voice. Megatron.
So and that's why I think Krispy Kreme. So I don't really care for Krispy Kreme.
They're like the 10th best donut place.
Maybe 10th if they're lucky.
Or like if there are 10 national donut places, they're 10th.
They might be 11 for me still. There might be some random place
like
that sells
Dunkin'
a donut.
Donuts, Shipley's,
Duck Donuts actually,
yeah,
Voodoo Donuts. There's so many different ones.
There's so many places that are Krispy.
And I feel
it's funny. Okay, give your whole Starscreams on, and then I'll.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel because like Starscream is second rate. He's always a second rate person. He's never in charge. Megatron's the main guy.
Megatron.
But he's so loud and obnoxious that you think. Oh, Starscream, like no one. I mean, people remember Megatron, but you always remember Starscream because he's loud and annoying, and I feel that's Krispy Kreme because like you go in there, it's like hi, everything's all bright and lit up, and it's like here's a free donut, like take this so you can get my other donuts because I really need for you to buy these donuts, but here's the free one, and I feel like they're just over the top at times with how loud they can be, and I feel that's a Starscream. Like Starscream is just loud and. Guys, I'm in charge here. Please, Megatron is not here. Like that's just how I feel Krispy Kreme's is. Like you said, the 10th best one, and only if the other 9 are closed for the day would I go to Krispy Kreme. Like I wouldn't go to Starscream for anything. I'd go to Megatron first, and I probably would go to some of the other characters before I go to Starscream.
Yeah,
and then I'd be like, oh crap, everyone's either busy or something. I guess I'll go to Starscream, and that's how I feel about Krispy Kreme's.
So this. Came into mind before you said all that, but it also tracks really well.
What?
Is the one that I thought of was Green Lantern, and here's why. Okay, so building off of what you just said, Green Lantern is like the 8th Justice League member that I'm going to. Like I'm not going to him first.
Yeah.
But I also part of the reason why Green Lantern came to mind for me is because and I'm not as familiar with Green Lantern. I've seen the movie, which is terrible, and I just feel like Green Lantern is so unimaginative. Like he can imagine anything, and he imagines the dumbest things. And I feel like that's Krispy Kreme, where it's like you could do so much with delicious donuts, and then they just turn it into crap. And you're like, really? That's what you thought of? Just cover it in glaze? Like
and
that's
a hell of a lot of sugar.
That's what you thought of? Like there's so much better things that you could do with this ring, and instead you're just like, here's crap. And so that's what I'm thinking of with Green Lantern.
And that's why they try to give you the free one. They're like, take this free one, because remember, you're here, and now you're gonna go buy this dozen.
Yeah, so it does. So that's what I thought of with Green Lantern. Is just like this amazing thing. Donuts are amazing. They're so good, and then you just turned it into crap. And so that's why I thought of Green Lantern. But it does track with your logic too, where it's like you're the last one that I turned to. Like I would go to Aquaman before I went to Green Lantern.
Aquaman, can you help me with the donut? It's gonna be soggy. It's fine. I'll take that over this one.
Hey Aquaman, there's this space battle that I need help with. Don't you think you should go to Green Lantern? Nah, he's kind of lame. Your trident's pretty cool. You want to come with me?
I mean, you're super strong still, right? Like even in space? Yeah. Come on. Just come on. He needs to go recharge anyway. And that, I feel like that's like way to start.
Which is also that's funny that you say Green Lantern needs to recharge, because doesn't Krispy Kreme do that thing where they only make fresh donuts like twice a day?
Something like, oh yeah, they do, because they close it. That's right. Well, not close it, but they turn off the light so you can't get it.
And so it's like oh no, we're in the recharging phase. Like all of our stuff tastes even worse than usual right now.
Exactly. And again, why, like you said, we wouldn't come to you right now at all.
Nope.
The other 9 places have to be so packed.
I guess if the light is on, I guess we'll come to you, Green Lantern.
See, and the only time I ever went to Krispy Kreme is there used to be next to the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And I was one of those like, do I want bowling alley food? Their breakfast food was never great. It was horrible. I guess I'll just get a donut from. It'd be like one of those. Do I want crap bowling alley breakfast food?
So my Krispy Kreme story is that when I was in high school, I played tennis, and so we were on like a where we were coming back from a match, I think.
Okay.
And we were passing a Krispy Kreme, and it was, it's a bus of like 15 kids, and the light was on at Krispy Kreme, which means like they're fresh and you're going to get a free one. Yeah. And so we were all like, can we stop at Krispy Kreme and get a free donut? None of us bought anything. We all just got a free donut, got back on the bus and left.
They were pissed, I bet.
I'm sure they were, but it was like 15 free donuts, where it's just like, give me my free fresh donut, and then we're out.
Pissed, I bet. See, like, grow up in a small town, we didn't have a Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
And there was one in Corpus at the time growing up. We still wouldn't go.
No,
I would literally drive back to our hometown, and there was, what was it called back in the day? Like Donut King or something. We would rather go there. Yeah. It's like, oh, I want something sweet. No, we're not going to go to there. We'll get donuts in Alice. And it's like, we'd go to my hometown, and it's like this little, what was it? I think it was like King Donut. They weren't even that good, but they were better. They were number 9 out of 1 through 10. They were number 9. They may have been like barely number 9.
We're going to get some Krispy Kreme lovers that are going to come at us in the comments. But I like the fact that we're both on this Krispy Kreme sucks train.
Yeah. I mean, they're never going to sponsor this, so don't worry about it. But we got 9 other ones ahead of them that, we love you guys.
I'll take that Dunkin' Donuts sponsorship right now.
I mean, I've never really had Dunkin' Donuts. I've had Voodoo Donuts and Duck Donuts, and I love both of them. I don't know if you've had Voodoo Donuts in Austin.
I have not had Voodoo. I've had Duck Donuts.
You've had Duck Donuts. Voodoo Donuts is a little bit better to me. So
I don't know. Dunkin's got me mad.
Dunkin' did?
Don't say it on the show. We're looking for sponsorship, Frank.
I went to Dunkin' Donuts to get a donut and a coffee,
and they were out of donuts.
And yes, I was like, how are you open? How do you have a sign that says open 24 hours a day and then not have donuts?
Well, because they sell out of their good donuts.
Because unlike
it was 1:00 in the morning.
Well, that they hadn't made their fresh ones for the next day yet.
They didn't even have fritters. I was like, can I get an apple fritter? I was like, we don't have anything. I was like, donut holes? We don't have anything.
Do you even have a glass of water?
I was like, crumbs?
That's why you go to the ones that are Dunkin' Donuts, Baskin Robbins, and that way you can get ice cream.
Oh yeah, there you go. Do we have that here?
Yeah, the one that's by my house is
what?
Is both.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
I never noticed. I've gone like twice now.
That's
I forgot.
like, and literally I grew up on that because my mom worked for, when I was a kid, that's who she worked for. Like she would work the early morning shifts. So she'd go in like 4 a.m. and work till like 10. And so like I grew up on Dunkin' Donuts donuts.
Funny.
And then usually like I was homeschooled until I went into 5th grade. And so there were a couple years where my mom was working there and she'd work the morning shift and my sister would actually drop me off on her way to school. And so I'd spend like a couple hours. And so usually I'd get like a donut and chocolate milk to start my day. And depending on how busy it was, my mom sometimes had to stay later than her shift. And so if she stayed late enough, I could sometimes wrangle a milkshake out of her too. I was like, yeah, I could get a milkshake for this. So yeah,
there you go.
It worked out. That
works. That's interesting. So I didn't. Dang, dude. That's why you like the donut. Now it makes sense why you don't like tacos and likes donuts.
Actually, although it's funny because growing up, I always had chocolate Long Johns. Like that was my donut of choice, which is like I
see a pair of pants covered in chocolate.
No. It's like an eclair, but it doesn't have the filling inside. It's just like a fluffy donut with chocolate icing on it, which now that's way too sweet for me. Really? Like I literally just get the cake old fashioned donut, have that with the coffee, and I'm good to go.
See, and that's one of the reasons I don't like Krispy Kreme too, because they're so covered in sugar. But that's why I also like Voodoo Donuts and Dunk Donuts, because those two, I feel like it's a little sugar and you could taste that sweetness, but it's not like here's all the sugar, you're gonna get cavities from.
So this has been Donut Talk.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
All right, we're done, guys. No. So moving on, let's move forward.
Yeah.
So we have our other topic called What If. So we basically bring up a what if scenario, kind of like the Marvel series and the comic book of the same name.
Yep.
We bring up a what if, what would happen here or there kind of thing. So this has been touched on in the comics, in non-canon and in alternate universes. What if Uncle Ben never died? I know you've heard it a million times, but I want our opinions.
Okay.
Robert, who I know knows a little of the comic stuff, I'm sure, from Spider-Man, but knows more of the movies. I know a lot more. Well, I know a lot of the comics and a lot of the movie stuff. So what do you think if Uncle Ben never died? What would have happened to Spider-Man?
Okay, so Uncle Ben dying is not the catalyst for him having his powers.
Correct.
It's not Batman where, his parents die in front of him and that motivates him to become Batman. It is what teaches him to maybe have that responsibility, right? It's the great power comes great responsibility. He stands by, and that's, what kind of directly leads to Uncle Ben's death is he doesn't stop, a crime in progress.
Yep.
So I think if Uncle Ben doesn't die, I think it depends, because I think at some point, whether it's that scenario or another scenario, he's going to have that crisis of conscience where he doesn't stop something, and that leads to a bad consequence. Maybe it might not be as personal as an Uncle Ben dying, but I think Peter is, I think Uncle Ben and Aunt May are good enough surrogate parents that he has that view of the world, that he cares about other people.
Yeah.
Right. Even before Uncle Ben dies, it's not like he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
He makes a bad choice in that moment. He's a 15-year-old kid, 16-year-old kid, whatever. So he makes a bad choice.
Right.
It comes to, like, this is a really obvious driving the point home.
Yeah.
Like if you don't take action when you should, bad things happen. So that Uncle Ben moment is very poignant and very obvious for Peter. But I think that, even though he's already got the spider powers, I think that he eventually would become the same Spider-Man that we would normally see. But I think that is also central to our Spider-Man that we've always had, is that those personal consequences that he faces, whether it be Uncle Ben dying, whether it be that he can't pay his rent, or that he is failing in school, or there's Spider-Man's always dealing with personal consequences, the cost of being Spider-Man, the cost of having superpowers. And so I think it is certainly very important to who he is and his journey that he goes on. But I think there are other ways to maybe get there without Uncle Ben dying. I don't think it would be as powerful, and I don't think it would be as fast.
Yeah.
But certainly I think we'd still get our Spider-Man. What about you?
So I would go a whole different route, and it's something that comic lore me doesn't even think that it's been touched. So I like this idea though. Uncle Ben doesn't die. So again, we basically have a 15, 16-year-old with a hot rod. Let's say with his powers. That we're gonna compare. I'm gonna compare it that way. He's like a hot rod, hotshot kid, just got his license. You know, I think I can rule the world. I'm immortal, kind of thing, right? Uncle Ben doesn't really give him that pep talk, like you said. That great power comes with great responsibility, and he might, but it won't hit Peter as hard, like you said. Now, I think the consequences with money and being like that, you know, living paycheck to paycheck kind of thing, and how am I going to make rent? I think that kind of starts fading a little bit because now we get two incomes with Uncle Ben, and let's say Aunt May's working, so they may not be rich, but they're at least okay.
They're getting by.
Yeah, and you know, maybe Peter picks up a part-time job here and there, like, you know, and they kind of maybe comment like, well, why can't you hold a job? I don't think they would ever figure out still. I think Uncle Ben would eventually maybe put two and two together, or he would always maybe he's doing something, and either he would leave Peter alone or he'd figure it out that he is Spider-Man. So with that though, I think that he still has a good heart. Peter always is going to have that good heart to an extent. Agree. But we lose some of the, like we said, we lose some of that, the morals are kind of a little, they're not as strong probably. And here's what I think could happen.
Okay.
And this is what I'm leading up to. He is going to become Venom himself. Because he always starts to give in to Venom. Because Venom always when he first meets Venom, thinks it's just a suit. And even in the movies, he's like, oh, it's just this thing.
Sure.
And he doesn't notice that it's taken over at first. And I think some of that naive side, because he hasn't lost Uncle Ben, and some of maybe he hasn't really fought off some of the stuff that he has when Uncle Ben dies, like you said, the money issues and all that. He doesn't become as humble. So I think Venom would slowly creep in even further than it would have without Uncle Ben dying in the humble side. I think he would actually become Venom himself.
So what would snap him out of that?
I don't think he would. I think he would become like Eddie Brock is to Venom. I think he would become that. He wouldn't get that snap.
I think he still would, because it's going to affect his Peter and Uncle Ben and Aunt May. Uncle Ben and Aunt May. I think his relationship with them is strong enough that they would notice that, and they would, they would have those conversations. They would have that, and so I think that's an interesting idea, but I do think he would get snapped out of it. I don't think Peter is. I think he's so strong, and I know he's your favorite.
Yeah, he is my favorite. We know that.
And I think we've seen so many different scenarios of Peter where Peter is getting knocked on his butt.
Oh yeah,
and Spider-Man lifts him out of it.
Yeah.
And I think this would be the reverse.
You think
I think Spider-Man getting knocked on his butt and becoming, Venom and going down that path. I think the anchor that Peter would have in the world with, Uncle Ben and Aunt May is what would get Spider-Man out of it. And I think he would still become the Spider-Man Peter Parker that we expect him to be. Again, I think it's maybe not as smooth of a journey. Yeah. It's not as easy for him to, again, that is a very easy consequence. You stood by,
did nothing. Yeah.
Something terrible happened. And so it's really easy to make those connections in your brain and go, man, and Uncle Ben just told me great power comes great responsibility. Exactly. Like literally, okay, like that all of the pieces line up very easily. And so the puzzle might not be as easy for him to put together, but I think he's still going to put the puzzle together.
I think he could. I think now again, this is the whole what if Uncle Ben never died. I think what would happen.
He's immortal?
He's immortal. He never dies. He becomes Highlander, and there's a whole thing here with the
I think Uncle Ben just became a villain.
I'm gonna go with Aaron on this one. I think Spider-Man, or I think Peter would have become more of a Flash Thompson, to where he knows he's got the power, and he's using it for the wrong purpose at first. You know what I mean? Like start making money.
Yeah, I think he could dip into that, but I'm saying eventually he would get pulled back out. That's what I'm saying is that it would impact his Peter enough that Uncle Ben and Aunt May would step in, and they might not know that he's Spider-Man or Venom, but they would see that change, and they would snap him out of it.
Wasn't one of the movies, didn't he like become the wrestler because he was trying to buy a car?
Toby started off with that. Toby was the wrestler. That's where you get Bonesaw, and that's where like
Bonesaw. Then he wanted to buy the car, right? Because he was trying to.
Yeah, he was trying to get Mary Jane, and yeah.
He's trying to impress her. So, but yeah, that's how the comic book starts too. He sidesteps out of the way, like not my problem. and then Uncle Ben gets killed by that same robber, and he confronts him later, and all that happens.
Yeah.
Like I said, the what if is,
and then we go back and change that so that we can have Sandman. No.
That made me mad.
It's so bad. All right, let's not talk about Spidey 3.
But yeah, I think, like I said, the what if is what if Uncle Ben didn't die. But here's the thing, like, I think if we go with the Venom idea, I think Venom would kill Uncle Ben because Venom would know what's happening. I think he would take over just enough to kill Uncle Ben, and that would be the catalyst. I think it would come later in life. I think it would come at that point. He kills Uncle Ben. He's like, Venom's like, yeah. And then, but Peter's like, no. Like you said, they had the talk.
Crossed the line.
Yeah. We had this talk.
And that would snap him.
Yeah. I think then that's when he'd be like, no more Venom. And then he would get the great power comes great responsibility.
That is a harsh comic right there where now instead of like being indirectly responsible for Uncle Ben's death, now he's directly responsible.
Yeah, because you were embracing the Venom. Like you said, they're trying to step in.
I like that.
Either unwillingly knowing he's Spider-Man or not knowing. Yep. But then I think like in the middle of the night, Venom would take over again and just be like, I need this host. And it just kills him.
Do it.
Marvel,
write that story.
J. Michael Straczynski, I think he would do good. Brian Michael Bendis, both of y'all.
That's a good one. I'm on board for that.
That's what I think would happen. Like I didn't want to add the death part, but like that's what I think would happen because I think you're right. I think Peter would stay wholehearted and like but I think like Frank said,
maybe instead of killing Uncle Ben, we kill Aunt May.
Ooh, that would be a twist, killing that Aunt May. But like Frank said, I think he would get that little more Flash Thompson, which is why Venom would take over better. No. He feeds off of that.
And I think I agree with you guys. I think he would go down that road initially. I just think that his relationships that he has as Peter, I think would eventually snap him out. But I like your catalyst for that moment. I like that, he ends up killing, Venom ends up killing, Uncle Ben or Aunt May.
Yeah, either
or
one.
Someone that he loves.
Yeah, or both. Yeah, maybe he kills both at that point and that pushes him even further to like, no, great power comes great responsibility.
Maybe Venom is able to save, Gwen Stacy. She doesn't smack her head on the bottom, but then, 2 weeks later, he just kills her anyway.
Exactly. So maybe, and that could be cool though. So let's say he saves Gwen Stacy and he's almost ready to like, no, Venom is what I need. And then he kills Uncle Ben because they've been talking him out of it.
I love it.
Like that could be like, write it down. It's on record now. It's recorded. So somebody write it.
Wait,
or I'll, anyone.
Did you press record on this?
Oh no. So, but that's my.
If your screen just went fuzzy, Marvel has come down on us.
Right? It's gonna be just a Marvel band pop up. It's like, really, guys? So let us know what you think. Like, what do you think if Uncle Ben didn't die on that scene? Originally, if you think he died later, like like I said, like a Venom idea. What do you think would happen to Peter Parker? What do you think of it? And like I said, I know it's been touched in other comics and alternate universes.
I like this idea though.
But let us know what you think.
Let's do it.
So touching on some of the news segment. We got a few things of news we'll talk about here, but the rest will be on YouTube and Facebook.
That Disney Insider stuff is coming in other videos, but we are going to touch on some things. So the big one that I want to talk about is we talked about this last week. Yeah. That HBO Max, Warner Brothers is sending like their entire slate of 2021 films to HBO Max.
Right.
And we don't know exactly all the release dates and everything, but this got some major backlash from huge, directors, actors, production companies, obviously movie theaters. We had already talked about that last week, but this is a lot of the talent and also other production companies are really pushing back on WB. Christopher Nolan was a big one. Denis Villeneuve was a big one. There's been a lot of content creators, Legendary Pictures. So I want to get to the Christopher Nolan quote first. Okay. So I think you have that pulled up. What did he say exactly?
So his comment was, some of our industry's biggest filmmakers and most important movie stars went to bed the night before thinking they were working for the greatest movie studio and woke up to find out they were working for the worst streaming service.
Yeah, so harsh words.
Yep.
And really what this drives home is that unlike Wonder Woman 84, in which apparently there were some side deals where both Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot apparently got $10 million each to basically forego this going into movie theaters. And the rumor is to not have them bash the move and basically say
hush money
tell everyone this is a good idea and that they need to watch Wonder Woman 84 on HBO Max. That they did not consult all of their other content creators, all these people whose movies were going on to HBO Max, they did not tell them that this was the plan. So Christopher Nolan's comments kind of highlight that people didn't know this was going to happen. They found out at the same time that Warner Brothers made this announcement, and that, a lot of, whether it be movie theaters, whether it be actors, whether it be directors, not only do they have, these content creators, do they have the desire to have their things maybe shown on the big screen, but they also get a lot of their money from the profits it makes from its from its theater run. That's how, deals are worked. They get back end points. They get things like that, where now that these movies aren't getting a maybe full theatrical release where, hey, maybe it's being released in theaters, but it's also being released on HBO Max, which means piracy is probably going to be an issue. All those things that these content creators are saying, we're going to now get less money. We weren't consulted about this. These don't fulfill the deals. Legendary Pictures has already come out and said that, they're considering litigation because like one of their films specifically, it was Godzilla versus King Kong. It was a co-finance between Warner Brothers and Legendary. I think Warner Brothers put up more than Legendary did. It's like a, like maybe a 70-30 kind of deal kind of thing. But I think it was Netflix had come and offered an amount of money to have that come to their streaming service. And Warner Brothers basically blocked the deal and said, no, it's not going on Netflix.
Right.
But then they did not consult Legendary about it going on to HBO Max. They said it's coming to HBO Max. And so Legendary is considering litigation saying, hey, maybe we could have gotten more money for our movie through one of these other streaming services, through a Netflix, through an Amazon, through whatever, and you didn't give us that option. And so there's possible litigation coming out of this. A lot of creators, again, are upset, not only that their content isn't going to be seen on the big screen, but also that it's not going to make as much money, and that they didn't have a say in this, that Warner Brothers is kind of just, going their own way. And Warner Brothers historically has been the studio that is maybe the least meddlesome with its creators. Like, it really lets them have their own voice and make their own choices. And so to have them be the studio that's made this decision and not consult their creators, as Christopher Nolan said, if people, like you've made a lot of enemies, and maybe people are going to say, we don't want to make movies with you anymore, Warner.
Exactly. And like you said, to me, and there's got to be a conflict of interest. If you're Warner Brothers, you help film this film, and it's like, oh no, it's going straight to my streaming. And that might be where they're going to hold some litigation against them, because it's like, that is a conflict of interest. You literally put it on your own service, but that's where the backlash of it, if they, were majority in control, you kind of don't need to really talk to your other people.
I mean,
majority share. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
how that would work.
And Disney Plus, and Disney has kind of, they've done some of their things, but it sounds like they haven't made a broad statement. It's been targeted, and they've had those conversations beforehand with those creators. They've, worked with them, and they've kept their talent happy, so to speak. And this is a case where Warner Brothers apparently did not do that. These are reports, so we don't know. But the report was that, there was a big room where they were talking about this. One person was like, hey, don't you think we should talk to our talent? And everyone else was like, shut up, nerd.
It's that meme where they throw the guy out the window.
Yeah, a little bit. Like we're not going to do that, and we're going to make our own choices, and this is our right. And it may be true. They may have the right to do this. They may not be liable, in court for this, but that doesn't mean it was a smart decision to make this, and they could be paying for this years down the road.
We'll see. I mean, this is something that I hope shakes up the market enough for people to realize what's going on. But at the same time, I mean, everybody's got to make money.
And
that's what they're trying to do.
Understand why Warner Brothers made this choice. They're trying to put more content on HBO Max. They're trying to get more subscribers. They're trying to, do those things. They've lost out on, basically a full year's worth of theater revenue, like all those things.
Yeah, they're trying to stay afloat.
It makes sense.
It does.
But the fact that they didn't work with their creators beforehand, as Christopher Nolan and other people have come out and said, like, that speaks really poorly to this decision-making process, and that they didn't bring those people into it. Are they going to lose out? I mean, Christopher Nolan's probably their biggest name. Like, he makes big movies for them. Yeah, I mean, he's been working with them, going back at least to Batman Begins, if not before that.
There's one in 2002.
Insomnia.
Yeah, 2002 was his first working with them. He said, And he's been with them since.
Yeah, and so he's basically and he's a huge name in directing, like a lot of people. And
I'll watch a movie just with his name on it.
Me, absolutely too. And he's come out and basically bashed him and said this is a terrible decision. And so
makes you wonder if he's done, because another company will pick him right up.
And you got to think, I mean, even like someone like Patty Jenkins, who they just gave this money to put Wonder Woman 84 on, she just got announced that she's doing a Star Wars movie, which is with Disney, which is definitely a direct competitor. Is she done at Warner's too? Like we don't know. Yeah. Denis Villeneuve, who is certainly a huge name in directing, although his movies don't bring in that much money necessarily, but he's got Dune coming out, and it's supposed to be part 1 of 2, and he gave a quote that basically they might have just killed the franchise.
Yeah. I saw that one.
And so that was him. Okay, it's right. Definitely there's been a lot of backlash to this decision from a fan perspective. We get to see more stuff and
pay only $15
it makes it easy for us to do. But from a creator standpoint, there's a lot of people that are not happy.
And I kind of have to stand with the creator on it, because I feel like they should have talked to him. I mean, yes, I'm, as the consumer, heck yeah, I'm happy. $15 a month, and I get almost one new movie guaranteed almost, because I think they have quite a bit lined up.
And I mean, there's a lot of good content on HBO Max too.
Oh yeah,
you get all of their original series.
Oh, and now they moved the DC stuff, the DC Universe stuff, all went to HBO Max.
So there's a ton of really good stuff on HBO Max
for $15. I mean,
but how much is this negative backlash going to impact their bottom line? We don't really know.
We don't know. Or how's it going to affect
certainly future?
Yeah, how is it going to affect the movies?
Yeah,
once everything eventually COVID hopefully will die down. How is it going to affect what directors want to work with them? Do they lose somebody like you said? Their biggest guy has got to be Nolan for director.
Sure.
You got Gal Gadot, who's probably one of their biggest actresses. Does she stay around? Does she say, you know what, I don't like this either, I'm leaving? We don't know. Zack Snyder, whatever his name is. I forgot his name.
Well, I mean,
we don't talk about him anymore.
They're giving him his Justice League Snyder cut. I think Zack Snyder is perfectly happy with Warner.
He doesn't care.
he's good to go.
So, moving on to the next one though, because I mean, there's been a lot of other stuff. What was the next one we said?
Well, so I wanted to talk about this. So this is part of Disney Investor Day, but we didn't want to necessarily make a separate announcement. Is that FX, which is now part of Disney as well,
everything is
that they're now going to be developing an Alien series from Noah Hawley, who also did the Fargo series, which if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend. Is really good. So I'm excited for that. I like Alien and Aliens. I think the first Alien movie is the best movie. I think Aliens is really good. I think
you're talking about the 90s or 80s ones, right?
Yeah, not
the Robert Rodriguez ones.
I didn't know.
Oh, he did Predator?
Yeah, I didn't. Oh, okay. I didn't. I was right. I didn't know that Robert Rodriguez did those. Three, I think, has hit or miss.
3 was,
then 4, I'm not a big fan of. And then the newest ones that Ridley Scott did, which was Prometheus and then Alien Covenant. I actually didn't see Alien Covenant. I thought Prometheus had really good ideas that weren't executed.
Prometheus was
well.
like a prequel to all of it, right?
Right, and so was Alien Covenant.
Oh, I never saw Covenant,
but I did not see that one either. So I'm excited for this. I think there's a lot to mine in this series, and especially going away from maybe the Ellen Ripley storyline. I think there's a lot that we can get into. So I think this is a cool idea.
I'm excited for it. I've always loved the Aliens and Predator stuff. To be honest, I kind of got into it late. I honestly got into it because of Robert Rodriguez. Because like I say, I will watch anything with him.
Predator crap out of here.
I did not mind it for what it was, but then that made me go watch
Alien.
all the old
Alien
stuff.
Is such a better franchise than
Predator.
It is.
I will give you that, because the Aliens I like, and I don't like the Alien versus Predator stuff when they fight. I didn't like that one. But it got me into the franchise. It got me into the world at least. Sure. And then I went back, watched Aliens, watched all the other stuff.
Predators, the one with Adrian Brody.
Oh yeah. That one's a fun one where they're like, and isn't Lawrence Fishburne in that one too? Right? Yeah. That one's good.
Which is that one?
The one with Adrian Brody and Lawrence Fishburne.
But which is that the newer ones, right? Or
no,
the
that's
old ones.
That was a mid 2000s. I want to say maybe.
I probably saw that one.
It was like post Matrix for Lawrence Fishburne, so it's somewhere in that range.
Oh, because Lawrence Fishburne's like kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
I did see that one.
Well, that's the one that Robert Rodriguez directed.
Okay, so that's his then. Okay, that's what I was like trying to remember. Yeah, because he died. That's the first one then, because that's the first one he did. Then the other one, I forgot the second one, because he did 2. I thought he did 2.
I don't know.
Okay, I know. I'm
not as familiar with the Predators franchise. So.
There's a lot of films in this whole world because they're both in the same universe now.
They put them together, which I don't need. I like Alien living by itself.
Yeah, it was. a dumb concept to me when they brought them out, and it's just like, to me, the aliens always should win anyway because I love them. I think they're
acid
badasses.
blood.
Yeah, exactly.
So cool.
Oh my god, so cool.
That's why you should watch Alien Covenant, because it shows you how the whole xenomorph became a xenomorph.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's the type of thing where I'm not sure that I need it.
I'll watch it.
I think I will watch it eventually, but I'm excited for this story.
This one looks good.
And especially Noah Hawley, I think is really strong at creating kind of interesting things to talk about. So I think I'm excited for this.
Yeah, makes two of us. So Kingsman, right?
Kingsman, which apparently they have like 8 more movies set to go in this franchise.
And I would like to point out, this
So
comic
weird.
book was only a short story. One short story, I believe it was 5 issues, maybe 6. And they based this like a whole movie franchise off of this.
Mark Millar, he came back and wrote more, I think. So it was initially only a limited run, but I think they did.
Did he do another one?
I think so. The first movie I quite liked.
I love the first one.
I think there are some elements that don't work really good. Like I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's a really fun movie. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. The second movie I thought was terrible. They're now making a prequel that was supposed to already have been out, but obviously with the pandemic, which is I think kind of like the formation of the Kingsman, which looks really cool.
It's supposed to follow like Colin Firth's character, I thought, right?
No. I think it's before that
okay.
even. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that looks cool. But yeah, the fact that I knew that they were supposed to make a third one with Eggsy and Colin Firth. And so the fact that they have like 8 more movies planned, I'm like, whoa, like pump the brakes, guys.
Yeah.
Let's make another good. You've made 2 movies so far, 1 good one and 1 crappy one. Let's pump the brakes. Let's get some more good movies out here before we start talking about like we're going to have 10 total movies.
And see, my thing is I'm not fans of prequels. We both know that because I don't like, because if there's any character that's gonna be in the future one, you know they're gonna be okay. They're gonna be safe.
Yeah, prequels have a tough hill to climb up.
Yeah, and that's one thing I don't like about prequels. Mm-hmm. But I honestly love the actor that plays Eggsy.
I think he's great.
Amazing.
Yeah,
and that's
Taron Egerton. Mm-hmm.
Taron Egerton. That's the only reason I like the second film. I hate the American
Pedro Pascal and Jeff Bridges and Channing Tatum.
I hate his character.
Yeah.
Pascal, I don't mind because he's okay. But Tatum's character, I hate. And I didn't like the villain. I didn't like the idea about the plot.
Julianne Moore was terrible. The robot dogs. Yeah. It was so like the first one had cheesy elements, but it was like a wink, nudge cheesy element. The second one went way over the top with the cheese.
And the only thing that good about that movie was, and I hate it, is the scene where the guy steps on the mine and he's gonna die.
Take me home.
Yeah, I love that
country
scene.
road.
Because it's like
to the place where I belong.
Yeah,
West Virginia.
That was the only thing I liked about it.
Take me home.
Because it was like I love that character, but I was sad when he died.
Yeah,
but
Mark
everything
Strong,
else,
okay. If you can bring back Colin Firth being shot through the head, bring back Mark Strong being blown up by a mine. Like because he's a great character.
It was just his leg. We all thought he died, but his knee down is gone. That's it. He's good.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. So I don't know. I again pump the brakes. You don't need 10 movies. You know, you're not James Bond right now. You don't have 100 movies written and ready to go. I don't know. I'm not excited for it.
Which, I mean, I guess if you're going to give me different stories about different characters, I don't want 10 movies of Eggsy. That's for sure.
I don't know if I could do that. I mean,
I like Eggsy, but especially with what they did in the second one, I'm like, I don't
bring it back.
I don't know that I need more.
I would give them one more, bring it back, and if you can make it more like the first one, maybe better,
I guess.
Then I'll forgive you for that second one.
But yeah, part of what made the first one great was Samuel L. Jackson's villain, and his plot was great. And then the plot with Julianne Moore, which is like we're gonna give people this drug that turns them into zombies, or like what? It was so weird. It was so weird and not good, and not a fan. No. Not a fan.
So the last bit of news, though.
All right. So the last thing that we're going to talk about
Spider-Man 3
is the Spider-Man 3 casting confirmations and also rumors. So this was stuff that's not the Disney Insider stuff. They didn't actually talk about this movie at all on Disney Insider.
They stayed away from it.
So we got confirmation that Alfred Molina is back.
Who is Doc Ock?
Doc Ock. We already knew that
Jamie Foxx
was coming back as Electro, and then there are heavy rumors that we're getting Tobey Maguire, that we're getting
Andrew
Garfield, that we're getting Emma Stone.
Yeah, Emma Stone was last.
That we're getting Charlie Cox. So all of those are rumors.
Tatum, you mean, and all these other.
No. And I gotta say, and we know that Doctor Strange is in this. I gotta say, I'm getting really, really, really worried about this movie.
Same.
And it's not that I don't love all those elements, but I love Tom Holland. And I want a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
And I'm really concerned that they're packing this too full, that this is another Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, where we're just like bringing in too many elements. There's too many threads.
Agreed.
I love Kevin Feige, and the fact that Doctor Strange is in this means he's going to at least have some kind of say in this. Yeah. And so I do trust him, but I don't trust Sony as much. And I'm really worried that this is going to be overstuffed. And it's like, Disney, we have to assume J. Jonah Jameson is back. Yeah. Like, are we going to get the old version of J. Jonah Jameson where like we're visiting that world? Because Doc Ock means we're opening the Tobey Maguire world.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx means we're opening the Andrew Garfield world. We have rumors that we're getting both of them. Emma Stone, obviously she died. So are we, so did Doc Ock. I don't even remember what happened with Electro. So like, are we getting back to previous versions of some of these characters where they're still alive in those versions? Are these alternate universe versions where they haven't died yet in those versions? Because we know that Jamie Foxx was supposedly not playing the same Electro, but he's still playing Electro. So this is just an alternate universe version of Electro. Like, and at the same time, like, what are we bringing back? Who are we bringing back? If we're going back to Tobey, please bring back Willem Dafoe, but also I don't want more things, more elements. Like, what is happening with this movie?
I agree with you. This movie's it better be like 3 hours long almost at this point.
Well, and the thing is, like,
there's so much.
And there were rumors that this is, like that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire kind of have major roles, not just cameos, but like they're going to team up as a team of Spider-Men to take down whatever the big threat is. And it's like, I want a Tom Holland movie. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield had their movies. I don't need more of that.
And I agree with you 100%. I feel like this is going around Spider-Man 3, Amazing Spider-Man 2, we're going to screw up. Because they're going to try to pack it in about an hour and a half. Yeah. And that's not enough. Either you're going to need to make Spider-Man 3 Part 1 and Spider-Man 3 Part 2 kind of stuff to make it perfect. Yeah. Or this movie needs to be closer to the 3-hour mark. Because like you said, you can't... I feel what's going to happen is Tom Holland is going to have to remind everybody, this is my movie. Because don't get me wrong, he's a good actor. But Tobey Maguire is actually a really good actor too.
Yeah, sure. And so is Andrew Garfield.
Yeah. And I'm afraid they're going to outshine Tom Holland.
I'm not as worried about them outshining him, but I am worried about the story taking away from his story, which, we ended on the cliffhanger of Far From Home. So spoiler if you haven't seen that movie, of the world knowing who Peter Parker is, that he's Spider-Man.
But now that to me, that's also going to be the easy cop out of, oh, it was that Peter Parker. It wasn't this Peter Parker. Yeah. And I feel that's what they're going to do. It's going to be a throwaway line like that.
Which is my point. Like, we're going to take away from that interesting storyline by throwing this whole multiverse thing in. Are we going to visit these other, universes, other movies? Are we going to, is he going to have to fight, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, who's now, 60 years old?
Poor guy, yeah.
Are we going to, like, what are we getting to? And it's just like, it seems so excessive.
It does.
And like, as much as, like Into the Spider-Verse worked really well.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're getting a live action Spider-Verse. Do we need that?
I mean,
and this again feels like a backdoor way to say Tom Holland's going to be taken out of our Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yes. He's going to get his own Spider-Verse now, where we're going to have our Venom and our Morbius, and we're going to have all those things. And now he's not really going to be part of the main Avengers universe anymore, because we know that he's Sony, and the rest of the Marvel universe is Disney. And I don't want that, because I want Spider-Man in my MCU.
And I'm hoping with Doctor Strange tying to it still that shows that we're playing ball with you still. We're still going to let, we're pulling Doctor Strange, our guy, in your movie. So you need to lend us Spider-Man, for our other Avengers films or other solo stuff. I hope that there's something going on in the back end that helps these two companies work together.
The only thing, the thing that I'm most concerned about is Spider-Man going off to live in his own universe, where now Kevin Feige isn't involved anymore.
Oh, the moment he's not involved, I'm going to hate it, I think.
Because like I just feel like Sony has tried and failed with these Spider-Man movies too many times, and they keep trying to build this huge universe, and they keep they're
using just one character.
Don't get me wrong, Spider-Man has an amazing rogues gallery, and there's tons of stuff like
worth.
Oscorp and Kraven the Hunter, and there's so many interesting pathways that you can go down, and you don't need him to live with all the other Avengers to do that interesting stuff. And it even could be interesting to have him live in a universe where maybe now he doesn't have Aunt May, and he doesn't have Tony Stark, and he doesn't have Happy Hogan, and he is cut off completely, and we could get closer to the comic book version of Spider-Man where he's on his own.
Yeah, for the most part he is.
And so that could actually be really interesting. I just don't think Sony's the team to tell it.
I don't think they're the team to tell it, but the problem with comic books in real life, actors age. You can only tell so many stories before Tom Holland is going to look too old to be Spider-Man. Yes, could we do an adult Spider-Man? Yeah, but eventually he's going to stop doing this. He's going to say, you know what? I don't want to be typecasted. Sure. I'm done. His career is going to move on. What Sony's notorious for doing is rebooting the whole franchise. So when Tom Holland does another 2-3 movies, and he's like, okay, I'm done. My story's done. Do they reboot again, or are they going to say, well, no? Now we're just going to recast
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
maybe not a Peter Parker.
Don't they already have an easy out with?
You just bring in Miles. Yeah.
If they want to bring in Miles, yeah. But then again, do you stick with Peter or Miles at that point? Do you just recast a Peter Parker and like James Bond? We just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what I feel like they're with the multiverse. You have that option, is you can just keep going. Like, now we're going to follow this Peter Parker that's in this universe, and he looks a little bit different. And
at the end of Tom Holland's, he gets a happy ending. It's over, and then he's like, "Oh, I wonder what's going on in one of the other universes." And you just pan into another universe. I'm not excited. I'm excited and not, because like you said, there's too much going on. I think Tom Holland's going to get outshined in any scene he's in with like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. I think the story's going to go different.
And we disagree on that, because I think Tom Holland I think he's an incredible actor, not to take away from Tobey or Andrew, but I think he can hold his own. We saw him hold his own with, Robert Downey Jr.
And that's true.
Or with, Benedict Cumberbatch, or with a lot of different actors. We've seen him hold his own. So I don't have a worry about him being outshined by the acting, but I think his story could be overshadowed.
Did Kristen Dunst? I don't know if she got... I heard rumors, but I don't know if
that's not confirmed either. There's a lot of rumors out there.
Darth Vader might be in this too somehow.
Darth Vader. Yeah. But Charlie Cox's Daredevil has been rumored. Again, it's just like, as much as I love that character, there's so many things happening.
To me, Charlie Cox, it would be cool to see him, but he needs to come out in She-Hulk, because they are both lawyers. So I think he needs to go over there. Maybe. If they're going to bring out Charlie Cox, he needs to... she needs to be the prosecutor, and he needs to be a defender of somebody.
Yeah.
And that's how we show, even if he never comes out as Daredevil, at least Matt Murdock, we know, is now officially an MCU person.
Which I do think that, that's one of those characters that Marvel just got back. Yeah. I don't think they're going to be like, Sony, you can play with him. Exactly. I don't think they would want to, because they don't want to lose him again. They're not going to lose him. Yeah. But I don't think that... I don't think that's one of the that one doesn't make as much sense to me as all of the other actors that are coming from actual Spider-Man. And
that's why I think he's going to go to She-Hulk. I think his first appearance that we'll ever see him is in She-Hulk. Like I said, prosecutor and defender kind of thing, because I can't remember what kind of attorney she is. I can't remember if she's a prosecutor or not.
Yeah,
because Matt's always going to be a defender.
Yeah, he's a defense attorney.
So he'll always be on that. So I think it'd be cool, like, again, even if not showing him as Daredevil, but showing Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock. And then it's just, that's all I would be happy with. Like, he doesn't ever to come out as Daredevil and She-Hulk. It's just, he's there.
But eventually.
I'd be happy. Yeah, eventually get his own show again, or, maybe he does come out in the costume. But I don't need it. As long as we finally confirm Daredevil is in the MCU, I'm happy. But I don't know. I'm excited let us know what you think, because there's just too much going on.
I've loved the first two Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I absolutely am going to go see this and love it.
Same.
Hopefully. But I am very worried about just how many things they're bringing into this, how many elements. I mean, are there going to be quick cameos? Emma Stone is a huge actress. Mm-hmm. So are we going to bring her in for a two-minute scene and then that's it? I mean, Is it going to be an Andrew Garfield from a time when she's already died, meeting her again? Are we going to do a backdoor, Spider-Gwen, where she's going to show up as Spider-Gwen?
Ooh.
Like, there's so many things. Like, what the heck is going on in this movie?
To me, and that's the other thing, I don't know where Sony's cutoff is for what Spider characters they own. I know they own the Spider-Man franchise.
I think they own pretty much everything.
But do they own like Silk? Do they own Spider-Gwen?
I think
or
so.
Not? See, that's what I want to know. Because what if that's gonna be the back door? They switch.
Yeah, I don't
he
know.
goes back there, and we end up getting Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider in our universe that we're used to. Because maybe they don't really own the rights to her. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
It's interesting because I could see them making a side deal for someone like Miles, where it's like MCU, you get to play with Miles now. Because I almost feel like Sony is too scared to center a franchise around a half black, half Hispanic character. Like, and I'm not trying to throw Sony under the bus or whatever, but we've seen like Disney and Marvel Studios are like, guess what? We're going to give you Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Guess what? We're going to make a Miss Marvel series, and she's going to show up in Captain Marvel 2. Guess what? Like they're
pushing it,
not afraid to make those choices, and so I think they would be more willing to give us a Miles Morales Spider-Man, and have him, maybe. Again, a lot in the comics, the catalyst for Miles becoming Spider-Man is Peter Parker dying.
Yeah.
And so it could be really interesting to, maybe we don't kill off Tom Holland, but we lose our Spider-Man of this universe.
Yeah, they flip or
and maybe everybody thinks that he's dead or something like that. He's disappeared, and now that causes Miles to step up, and he's our MCU Spider-Man. I can see that. I could be okay with that.
That or I think Gwen. I don't think they would push a female Spider-Man.
That'd be cool too.
Sony's. I think you're on that same track of, the Hispanic, black. I don't think they would do a female. I don't think they would. I think Sony.
They have at least announced that there is a female-led Spider Universe property coming. We don't know whether that's Spider-Gwen or Silk or Madam Spider or there were
Spider-Woman.
Do you remember Do you remember when there was supposedly an Aunt May movie coming from Sony when they were doing Amazing Spider-Man 2 and they were like, we're gonna make a movie about everything?
Why?
So the big rumor about this one,
Uncle Ben, we're gonna make a movie about that.
The big rumor about this one that I think could be cool is that we're getting Sinister Six, which is maybe where Doc Ock and Electro, those versions, and we're getting maybe the Vulture back, and we're
Scorpion,
all of those things, and so maybe we're pulling in a Sinister Six from the different universes, which is why we need to bring in all three Spider-Man.
But that means we get the crappy Rhino probably.
Oh, no, I don't think they're bringing back Rhino. And so, all of those things, that's a super interesting idea. I am worried about the execution.
Yeah, and we'll see. Maybe it'll be just they come out for the fight scenes. Who knows? That I would be okay with that.
And having a 45-year-old Tobey Maguire showing up and going, "Hey kid," that could be super interesting.
I want him to be like the grandfather of it all, and I'll teach you my ways.
Well, and I just having him swing and be like, "Oh, my back!"
Right? It just starts falling midair. Andrew Garfield has to catch him.
Yeah,
I got him. Don't worry. Happens all the time.
So,
oh God, no, no, Dad, we don't talk about that film.
Which that was kind of my what if that's the cameo we get where it's they show up in that and Doctor Strange is like, what the heck is happening here? So I don't know. Just move on.
He just covers Tom Holland's eyes. We're out. Just leaves.
Would Sony have enough of a sense of humor?
I don't think they would.
I don't think so either.
But on that note, guys, we're gonna go ahead and end it here. Now, all of the Disney Insider news and all of the Game Award news will be throughout the week on our Facebook page of facebook.com/officialgygo or youtube.com/officialgygo. Go check all those out. They'll be up throughout the whole week. They're just gonna be little short 5-minute videos, roughly, just telling you.
Hopefully, we can keep it to 5 minutes.
We're gonna keep it to 5 minutes. I got to keep him in track for Star Wars and Marvel. Hopefully,
there's Star Wars much.
So definitely go check all of those out, guys. So you can get all the news that you want to hear. Go check out the sites and let us know what you think. For Robert, Frank, and myself. This is Get Your Geek On's Talkin Geek, and stay geeky, guys, and get your geek on.